What happens when one of Hollywood's most adored actors finally reaches his breaking limit on live television? Well, Hugh Jackman, renowned for his composed nature and professional elegance, completely lost control during what was meant to be a standard promotional visit on The View. And it all began with Joy Behar's persistent assaults that violated every standard of good conduct. This is a tale that will stun you. So, make certain you click subscribe and let me know in the comments what you believe went over the line. Let's delve right into what truly occurred away from those cameras. The morning commenced like any typical publicity tour stop for Hugh Jackman. He was present to chat about his upcoming return to Broadway, a venture he'd been zealous about for months. The producers had informed him that it would be a pleasant, quick discussion about his career and new endeavors. What they neglected to mention was that Joy Behar had spent the prior evening searching through old interviews looking for evidence to manufacture a dispute. As Hugh stepped onto the stage, his signature smile illuminating the area, the viewers erupted in applause. He gave a warm wave, occupied his chair next to the hosts, and appeared genuinely eager to be there. Whoopi Goldberg initiated the standard friendly greetings. "Oh, it's always lovely to have you here. You look wonderful, and we're so enthusiastic to hear about your comeback to Broadway," Whoopi expressed with true warmth. "Thank you so much for inviting me back. I must say every time I'm here, I feel like I'm visiting relatives." Hugh replied, his Australian tone lending appeal to every utterance. The chat flowed effortlessly for the initial few minutes. Sarah Haynes asked about his preparation routine. Alyssa Farah Griffin inquired about working with the ensemble, and everything seemed perfectly routine. Hugh was at ease, sharing funny stories about rehearsals and conveying his sincere passion for live shows. Then Joy Behar leaned forward with that expression in her eyes that frequent viewers know all too well. The look that suggests she's about to reveal a surprise. "Ooh, I have to inquire about something that's been bothering me," Joy stated, her tone adopting that antagonistic inflection she saves for her most aggressive moments. Hugh's look changed slightly, but he preserved his self-control. "Certainly, Joy, what's on your thoughts?" "Well, I've been studying your past interviews, and I noticed you've been very quiet regarding certain political matters. Some might claim you're being deliberately vague. Are you scared to take a position because it might damage your prized career?" The setting fell silent. Even the camera operator seemed to perceive the sudden alteration in feeling. Hugh's smile hesitated for only a moment before he composed himself. "I'm not sure I grasp what you're implying, Joy. I've always held the belief that my work as a performer is to bring happiness and a brief escape to people, not to lecture them about politics," Hugh responded calmly. But Joy wasn't withdrawing. In fact, she was only starting. "Oh please, that's such a weak excuse. You have a platform, you have power, and you elect to stay quiet while significant issues are occurring in the world. Don't you think that's a little self-centered?" The other host exchanged uneasy glances. Whoopi attempted to intervene. "Joy, perhaps we should concentrate on Hugh's upcoming performance," Whoopi suggested mildly. But Joy disregarded her completely and pushed ahead. "No, I think this is important, Hugh. You've earned millions of dollars from American viewers, and yet when they require famous people to speak up about vital issues, you vanish. How do you justify that sort of special treatment without responsibility?" Hugh's jaw tightened slightly, but he maintained his professional composure. "Joy, I respect your viewpoint, but I disagree with your opening statement. I've backed numerous charitable groups. I've utilized my platform to raise understanding for causes I believe in, and I've constantly tried to be a constructive influence in the world. I just don't think my political opinion should impact how people appreciate entertainment." "That's convenient," Joy fired back, her voice saturated with mockery. "So, you'll accept their money, but you won't advocate for their rights." "Understood." The viewers were obviously uncomfortable. This was not the light, fun interview they had anticipated observing. Hugh glanced around at the other hosts, clearly hoping someone would redirect the dialogue back on topic, but Joy was fully aggressive. "And another thing, Hugh, I've noticed you're extremely careful about which discussions you grant, which programs you participate in. Are you attempting to regulate your image? Because to me, that seems rather calculated and artificial." Hugh's hands were gripped in his lap now, though he was making his best effort to preserve his self-control. His voice stayed steady, but a sharpness was creeping in. "Joy, I'm not sure why you're being so hostile, but I came here to discuss my fondness for theater and to connect with the viewers. If you wish to have a political exchange, perhaps this is not the appropriate setting." "Oh, so now I'm being unfriendly because I'm posing real inquiries instead of serving easy questions to you like everyone else does." "This is precisely what I'm talking about, Who. You cannot handle any genuine inspection." The stress in the setting was becoming intense. Sarah Haynes looked like she wanted to hide under the furniture, and even the viewers had ceased making any sound. But Joy wasn't finished. "You know what genuinely bothers me about actors such as yourself?" Joy persisted, totally ignoring the clear distress of everyone near her. "You come on these shows, you smile, you charm everyone, but beneath it all, you're just another privileged famous person who thinks they are superior to everyone else." Hugh's eyes flashed with something the viewers had never witnessed previously. His voice remained restrained, but the geniality was completely absent. "Joy, I believe you're crossing a boundary here. I've been only respectful to you and this program, and I'm not certain what I've done to deserve this type of treatment." Crossing a boundary, Joy chuckled scornfully. "Oh, That's rich coming from someone who's established a career out of portraying tough men on screen, but can't manage a few honest inquiries in actual life. Whoopi tried once more to intervene, her tone more determined this time. Joy, I truly think we should transition to talking about Hugh's Broadway performance. Our viewers tuned in to hear about entertainment, not to watch an intense questioning, but Joy was unstoppable now and she clearly had no intention of halting. No, Whoopi. I believe our viewers deserve to observe who these famous people truly are when they're not reading from a prepared text. Hugh, let me ask you this directly. Do you feel you're better than the average person who watches this program? Hugh sat back in his seat, and for the first time his famous calmness began to break. His tone was still restrained, but there was firmness in it now. Joy, that's an incredibly offensive inquiry and I think you understand it. I've never asserted to be better than anyone, and the fact that you would even propose that reveals more about your outlook than mine. Oh, so now you're analyzing my thoughts, how convenient. You can't respond to a simple question, so you redirect it back to me. Sarah Haynes finally found her voice, trying desperately to salvage the situation. Hugh, perhaps you could inform us about collaborating with your Broadway co-stars. I'm sure our viewers would enjoy hearing about the practice process. But Joy immediately cut her off. Sarah, please. I'm in the middle of having an actual dialogue here. Something the program urgently needs more of instead of these easy stories. Hugh turned to look directly at Joy and the camera captured something in his eyes that caused the entire setting to hold its breath. Joy, I need to ask you something. Did I do something personal to upset you? Because this feels very personal and I'm attempting to comprehend why you're being so needlessly unkind. Unkind. I'm being unkind. I'm asking you inquiries that any serious reporter would pose. The issue is you're so accustomed to everyone praising you that you can't handle genuine inspection. Genuine inspection. Hugh's voice was increasing now, though he was still attempting to maintain some semblance of control. Joy, you haven't posed me a single meaningful question. You've made charges, you've questioned my character, and you've been deliberately provocative. That's not good reporting. That's just being malicious. Joy leaned back with a satisfied grin, as if she'd proven some kind of point. And there it is, folks, the actual Hugh Jackman. Not so charming when someone challenges him, is he? That remark seemed to strike something deep in Hugh because his entire manner shifted immediately. He leaned forward, his voice lowering to a pitch that was somehow more frightening than if he had been yelling. Joy, let me be very clear about something. I came here as a visitor on your program. I came here with respect for you, for your colleagues, and for your viewers. I've answered every reasonable inquiry you've made, and I've tried to remain professional despite your increasingly unfriendly conduct. The setting was completely silent now. Even Joy seemed briefly surprised by the power in Hugh's voice, but you appear determined to transform this into some kind of conflict for reasons I cannot grasp. So, let me ask you a question, Joy. What exactly are you trying to achieve here? Because if your aim is to make me look bad, you're failing completely. You're only making yourself look small and unprofessional. Joy's grin wavered for only a moment, but she swiftly recovered her composure. I'm trying to have a sincere dialogue with you, Hugh. Something you seem unable to do, sincere. Hugh's voice was getting louder now, and you could see the anger building behind his eyes. You want sincerity. Here's some sincerity for you, Joy. You've been discourteous, you've been disrespectful, and you've been deliberately hostile from the moment you opened your mouth. And honestly, I'm growing wary of it. Alyssa Farrah Griffin looked like she was ready to leap out of her seat and run while Sarah Haynes was frantically gazing at the producers off camera, clearly hoping someone would step in. But the crisis was in full effect now, and there was no halting it. Joy pressed harder, her voice becoming sharper. Oh, so now the real Hugh Jackman is emerging. Not so pleasant and polite now, are we? This is what I've been trying to demonstrate to everyone. Beneath that carefully constructed image, you're just another self-important famous person who can't handle critique. Hugh stood up so suddenly that his chair nearly toppled over. The viewers audibly gasped, and you could sense the feeling in the area change entirely. You know what, Joy? Hugh's voice resonated across the setting, and every person in that room knew they were witnessing something remarkable. I've had enough of this. I've sat here calmly while you've assaulted my character, questioned my honesty, and attempted to provoke me into precisely this type of reaction. Well, congratulations. You obtained what you desired. Joy looked momentarily stunned but quickly tried to regain command of the situation. Hiff, perhaps you should sit down and we can talk about this like mature people. Like mature people? Hugh let out a bitter chuckle that echoed through the shocked setting. Joy, you wouldn't recognize mature behavior if it struck you in the face. You've spent the last 15 minutes acting like a schoolyard bully, and now you wish to lecture me about being a mature person. The cameras were recording every second of this outburst, and the producers were frantically trying to decide whether to switch to a break or let this disaster continue. The viewers were immobilized in surprise, observing the total destruction of what was meant to be a casual interview. I think you're overreacting, Joy said, but her tone lacked its earlier certainty. Overreacting? Hugh's voice cracked with disbelieving anger. Joy, you questioned whether I deserve the success I've spent 30 years working to achieve. You accused me of being fake, self-centered, and self-important. You suggested I believe I'm superior to your viewers. And you did all of this without reason, without justification, and apparently for your own amusement. Whoopi was desperately attempting to regain command of her program. Joy, let's all take a breath here and try to reset this conversation. But Hugh was past the point of return. He turned to speak to Whoopi directly, his voice still loud, but filled with a different kind of feeling now. Whoopi, I have nothing but respect for you and this program. I've been a visitor here numerous times, and it's always been a pleasure. But I will not sit here and be verbally abused by someone who appears to think that being unkind is the same thing as being smart. He turned back to Joy and the intensity in his eyes was obvious. And you, Joy. I don't know what kind of day you're experiencing, or what private issues you might be dealing with, but that doesn't grant you the right to take it out on your visitors. I came here to promote a Broadway show that I'm enthusiastic about, to talk about something that brings me happiness and hopefully brings happiness to other people. Instead, you've turned this into some sort of distorted power game. Joy tried to interject, but Hugh held up his hand. No, I'm not finished. You wish to know who I truly am. I'm someone who has labored incredibly hard to get where I am. I'm someone who tries to treat people with gentleness and respect regardless of their standing in life. I'm someone who believes in using whatever platform I have to make the world a little better. And I'm someone who will not tolerate being treated like trash on national television. The quietness in the setting was absolute. Even the crew members had stopped what they were doing to observe this unprecedented moment unfold. Hugh's voice dropped to a more normal speaking level, but the force never lessened. Joy, I don't know why you chose to make me your target today, but you've violated every rule of professional properness. You've been disrespectful, not just to me, but to your colleagues and to your viewers who tuned in anticipating something superior to this. Joy made one final attempt to rescue the situation. Her tone much softer now. Oh, I think you're taking this too personally. I was just trying to ask challenging inquiries. Hugh shook his head slowly, a look of genuine letdown on his face. No, Joy. Challenging inquiries would have been about my craft, about the business, about the concepts in my work. What you did was a personal strike hidden as good reporting, and the most disappointing part is that you appear to think your conduct was appropriate. He looked around at the other hosts, his expression relaxing slightly. Sarah, Alyssa, Whoopi, I apologize that you had to observe this. You've all been only professional and kind. Then he looked directly into the camera, addressing the viewers at home. To everyone watching, I want you to know that this is not typical of the conversations I usually have on this program or any program. I believe in treating people with dignity and respect, and I expect the same in return. What occurred here today was regrettable, but sometimes you must defend yourself when someone attempts to tear you down for their own motives. He turned back to Joy one last time. Joy, I hope someday you grasp the difference between being provocative and being unkind. There's a method to challenge visitors that doesn't involve attacking their character or attempting to embarrass them on national television. With that, Hugh walked toward the edge of the stage, but Joy couldn't let it go. She had to have the final comment. Fleeing, Hugh, I guess we truly did see the actual you today. Hugh stopped instantly. Slowly he spun back to face her, and the look on his face made everyone in that setting hold their breath. No, Joy. Fleeing would have been remaining silent while you continued your assault. What you witnessed today was someone who has enough self-regard to refuse to be your verbal victim. And if that intimidates you somehow, that explains everything about you and nothing about me. He walked off the stage to total quiet, leaving behind one of the most dramatic moments in daytime television history. The camera focused on Joy's face, which had shifted from self-satisfied joy to something nearing shock as she realized that her attempt to humiliate Hugh Jackman had failed completely. This was a masterful lesson in what occurs when someone pushes a truly decent person too far. Hugh Jackman didn't just defend himself. He revealed exactly what kind of person Joy Behar really is when the cameras are recording. What are your thoughts? Did Hugh go too far or was Joy totally out of line? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more explosive celebrity events like this.